Gandhi's Boswell, a plateau to Gandhi's Socrates, also Ananda to Gandhi's Buddha. Mahadev Haribhai Desai was born on 1st January 1892 and died on 15th August 1942. He was an Indian independence activist, scholar, and writer. He was best remembered as Mahatma Gandhi's personal secretary. About his early life, Mahadev Desai was born in an annual Brahmin family on 1st January 1892 in the village of Saras in the Surat district of Gujarat to Haribhai Desai, a school teacher, and his wife Jamna Ben. His mother Jamna Ben died when Desai was 7 years old. In 1905, when Mahadev was 13 years old, he was married to Durga Ben. He was educated at the Surat High School and the Elphinstone College situated in Mumbai. Desai graduated with a BA degree and after earning his LLB in 1913 took a job as an inspector at the Central Cooperative Bank in Bombay. About his political life. In 1920, Motilal Nehru requisitioned the services of Mahadev Desai from Gandhi to run his newspaper, The Independent from Allahabad. Desai created a sensation by bringing out a handwritten, cyclo-style newspaper after the Independence printing press was confiscated by the British government. Desai was sentenced to a year's rigorous imprisonment for his writings in 1921, his first stint in prison. In prison, Desai saw the jail authorities mistreated prisoners, frequently flogging them. His report describing the life inside an Indian jail was published in Young India, and Navajivan was compelled against the British authorities to bring about some drastic jail reform measures. He took part in the Bardoli Satyagraha along with Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. For his participation in the Salt Satyagraha, he was arrested and imprisoned. But following the Gandhi-Irwin Pact, he was released from the jail and accompanied Gandhi to the Second Round Table Conference. In 1932, Desai was arrested again and sent to prison with Gandhi and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Following his release in 1933, he was rearrested and detained in the Belgaum jail. It was during this time in the prison that he wrote Gita, according to Gandhi, which was posthumously published in 1946. He also played an important role in organizing people's movement in the princely states of Rajkot and Mysore in 1939 and was put in charge of selecting the Satyagraha during the individual Satyagraha of 1940.
For 25 years, Mahadev Desai was Mahatma Gandhi's closest associate and confidant. He first met Gandhi in 1915 when he went to meet him to seek his advice on how to publish his book, which was a Gujarati translation of John Morley's English book on compromise. Gradually, Desai joined Gandhi's ashram in 1917 and with Durga Ben accompanied him to Champaran that year. Desai became so close a man to Gandhi that, apart from transcribbing Gandhi's words and drafting his letters, Desai also served as his interpreter, travel manager, interlocutor, fellow jailbird, and, when necessary, also as a cook. Far more learned than his master, he tutored him on sociology, literature, and history, and much else besides. Desai often disputed with Gandhi on matters of principle and politics, and sometimes even got him to change his mind. In 1919, when the colonial government arrested Gandhi in Punjab, he named Desai as his heir. Desai and Gandhi were both arrested in Bombay on August 9, 1942, shortly after the passing of the Quit India Resolution. They were interned in the Aga Khan's house in Pune, where 6 days later Desai died of a heart attack. He was only 50. He also maintained a diary from 13 November 1917 to 14 August 1942, the day before his death, chronicling his life with Gandhi. Rajmohan Gandhi writes of Mahadev Desai thus: waking up before Gandhi in pre-dawn darkness and going to sleep long after his master. Desai lived Gandhi's day thrice over, first in an attempt to anticipate it, next in spending it alongside Gandhi, and finally in recording it into his diary. He was Gandhi's personal secretary for 25 years, but as Vadir Elvin wrote of him, he was much more than that. He was in fact Home and Foreign Secretary combined. He managed everything. He made all the arrangements. He was equally at home in the office, the guest house and the kitchen. He looked after many guests and must have saved 10 years of Gandhi's life by diverting from him unwanted visitors.
At the age of 50, Madhav Desai died of a heart attack on the morning of 15th August 1942 at the Aga Khan Palace where he was interned with Gandhi. When Desai stopped breathing, Gandhi called out to him in agitation, Mahadev, Mahadev, when he was later asked why he had done so. Gandhi answered, I felt that if Mahadev opened his eyes and looked at me, I would tell him to get up. He has never disobeyed me in life. I was confident that if he had heard those words, he would have defied even death and got up. Gandhi himself washed Desai's body and he was buried on the palace grounds, where his samadhi lies today. The Indian Department of Posts published a commemorative stamp in his honor in 1983. His son Narayan Desai was also a noted Gandhian activist and writer who wrote Mahadev Desai's biography, The Fire and the Rose. The Mahadev Desai Samaj Seva Mahavidyalaya, Gujarat's Vidyapat's Faculty of Social Sciences, Arts and Humanities was named in honor of Mahadev Desai. Such people as the anglicized Kashmiri Jawaharlal Nehru, the Indianized Englishwoman Meera Ben, the Tamil Sanskrit scholar V.S. Srinivasa Shestri, and the Catholic private secretary to the Viceroy Gilbert Javed. My most joyous discovery was to see Khan Abdul Zafar Gandhi and Mahadev Desai in the same frame, both dressed in khadi with the tall Pathan's hand affectionately draped around the shoulders of the comparatively diminutive and ever smiling Gujarati. Last words of Gandhi in memory of Desai read, Mahadev was like my own son. His last rites must take place like my own son. If the government wants the cremation to take place out of the jail, I want it to be before my own eyes. I do not want to take any political mileage of his death. For me, it is a religious rite. I can say that I want to be with the body alone and I want to light his funeral pyre. The ways of God are unpredictable. It was Mahadev who has to write my memories, but he opted for eternal sleep on my lap. And now it is me who is writing his memories.